Fanspeak, where the plan runs deep. The team grind hard, don't eat, don't sleep. From best ball dreams to DFS streaks, they help you print money every single week. Fanspeak. No cap, no gimmicks, we breaking limits. NFL bets, yeah, we live this business. Meg and Steve, that OG vision. Draft room killers on a lifelong mission. More stress to the Sunday spread. Fanspeak's that voice that's inside your head. Best ball, DFS, NFL bets. They built it brick by brick, no regrets. Fanspeak. Fanspeak team, printing money since day one. Fanspeak, forever.
Welcome back. Another episode of Talking Ball Steve-O Speak. We're gonna do some afternoon drafts, talk second year receivers, and just whatever we want to talk about. This is still kind of a weird time in the NFL with some news dropping, but it's a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation. Maybe not as much, fire to go along with some of that smoke. So, but we'll talk through it all. And let me hit up chat to start. Mike Rob checking in. It's Friday, Steve. Bust out the Hawaiian shirt, man. I did not, but that I could have gone for the Andy Reid look. Meg checking in, loving it. Of course, we got our guy Jamie, who we are very big fans of for his amazing intro song. We always appreciate that. And Jamie using our Fanspeak emojis. So very much appreciate that. Mike Rob saying, what hot senior dinner special you hitting up tonight after the stream? I don't know. I'm going to have to think on that, Mike. So yeah, today, I wanted to talk about, I talked about earlier, we talked about rookies, talked about third year receivers who all disappointed last year, but now, maybe we can look for some value. But today I want to talk about second year receivers. Second year receivers, sophomore receivers, we generally is when we see a breakout. That's why last year was such an anomaly for how that great rookie class from the previous year failed. But this year, we kind of had the opposite. Like basically every receiver from this class, outside of Tetero McMillan, kind of failed. I mean, Mbuka was pretty good as well, but struggled down the stretch. If you caught the stream with Huheim's and I yesterday, we talked about Tampa, and you just saw Mbuka's numbers, started strong and then got even better when Mike Evans got injured. But at the end of the year, he just wasn't really producing at all. So we'll get into him and everyone, but really wanted to talk about this second year class because outside of a handful of guys, we're not paying high prices on them. I think you can get some value. So let's break it down. We'll go order of ADP and just kind of look at it before we get into our first draft. And then we'll talk about it during the draft. So the first one you do have to take at a pretty decent price, and that is Tetero McMillan. He did have 1,000 yards as a rookie. He did have 7 touchdowns. 122 targets is a little lighter than you'd like. It's not terrible, but it wasn't great. The 70 receptions, just over 1,000 yards. I actually think there's more available to him when you really look at it. Like if you watched him last year, he had a couple bad drops. Also, Bryce Young, there were some plays where he just McMillan was wide open for a touchdown or a big 15, 20-yard gain. And Bryce Young sailed it or underthrew it, whatever the case was. So they struggled a little bit to get on the same page. It took a little while. I'm hoping year 2, and this is one of the reasons why we do see second year breakouts, is particularly guys in same offenses, particularly when they can have the same quarterback. Obviously not going to apply to everyone with so many offense coordinator changes, but this one it actually does. So we're paying a high price. I kind of look to want to be at the field because I can see some improvement from McMillan. But at the same time, we have some guys just below him, guys like T. Higgins, guys like Ladd McConkey, even Jameson Williams, who are just part of top tier offenses. A.J. Brown, maybe gets traded to a great situation. So I think McMillan's in kind of a weird spot. And then, of course, Devontae Adams, just with his role and touchdown ability, goes 10 picks later. It's a tough click for me at the current ADP, but at the same time, we know there's talent there. We know there's upside. I think investing in it is fine. I'm just not going to be overboard because I think the price is a little too high. The next guy is in a tough situation. And actually, the next two guys are back to back. Emeka Mbuka, 46.2 ADP, ended up with a good year. 63 catches, 938 yards, 6 touchdowns, had a couple carries, didn't do much with them as well. But it is tough because right now we don't know. Last year you had a situation where Mike Evans missed a significant amount of time, came back, got injured again. So, only ended up playing in like 8 games and left 2 games pretty early. Chris Godwin missed a large chunk of time. Jalen McMillan missed like 2/3 of the season. So it really was Emeka Mbuka. And Mbuka did pick up a little injury that limited him some, but he played through it, which is great. And the injury, I'm sure, impacted a little bit. But he now goes to a situation where if Mike Evans comes back, I think he has a really tough time paying off this ADP. Chris Godwin's another year removed from his major injury. Jalen McMillan, theoretically healthier. He suffered an injury in preseason last year. I feel like Mbuka could get squeezed kind of both sides. So I worry about his current ADP. I mean, I love him as a player, but he's a guy who going 46 and, we just got, you don't have to go too much further than like Terry McLaurin. Feels like a better situation. Christian Watson feels like the one. You have these first-round rookies who, are roughly on par with Mbuka as a prospect, but they could just get landing spots where they're clear ones. Roma Dunze, et cetera. So, just keep going down the list. And his teammate, Mike Evans. Now, if Mike Evans leaves, Mbuka probably could, theoretically pay off this price. The problem is, and Who Haynes brought this up yesterday, and I agree, he's going to move up. He'll go up 10 picks. And then we're challenging him above Devontae Adams, above Jameson Williams, maybe even above like Ladd or Higgins. And that is probably problematic. So I don't want to have zero Mbuka. I think the Bucs offense can bounce back as a whole. It was a situation where just so many things went wrong for Tampa last year. Bucky missed time. All the receivers who I mentioned missed time. Multiple key offensive linemen missed time. Baker played through an injury. So I think the offense can go back to being like a top 5, top 10 unit. The question is, where is Mbuka on the pecking order? They also have their tight end, Cade Otton, who's a free agent. Not that he's a massive target earner, but they decided to just like punt at tight end. That could help a little bit as well and just filter more targets to the wide receiver position. So I'd keep an eye on that as well. But I want to have a percentage of Mbuka. I'm having a tough time at this price just because I don't know if there's a massive ceiling here. And if Evans is back and Godwin healthier, those are just 2 talented guys. And McMillan has shown, even when he came back from injury last year, he earned a couple targets. So I'm probably going to be underweight on Mbuka just given where it is. Like now, if Evans comes back and Mbuka's price really falls, then maybe I'll start getting him because I think right now he should be more in the 60s as is. So then maybe I consider it a bit more. The next guy is another polarizing player, and that's Luther Burden. Early second-round pick last year. Was banged up in camp and preseason. Played pretty much every game, but it wasn't good early on. Like he was earning his role. Zacchaeus was playing more snaps. When they were in 2 wide receiver sets, he was never out there. But second half of the season, and in part because of Odunze's injury, but in part because I think he earned it, Burden, had a bit of a second half breakout. So he did end up with decent numbers. 47 catches, 652 yards, 2 touchdowns, couple of carries as well. Only on 60 targets, so he was very efficient on his targets to catches, and some of it was a lot of underneath stuff, but we saw some down the field stuff. The other highlight is you can point to, he was, week 17, he was like the receiver you needed. And I do think that can be sticky. I think going forward, the Bears passing game runs through Loveland, Burden, and Odunze. I'm kind of projecting a DJ Moore, maybe even Cole Kmet, both get traded. Almost definitely, I feel like DJ Moore gets traded. They can save a lot of cap room. They need to save that cap room. And, Bears will probably re-sign like somebody like Zacchaeus to be their third receiver, may draft somebody on day 3. I think Burden and Odunze lead this team in receiving. My problem is I think Odunze is a better option than Burden. So another one I don't love the price. I think right now isn't like compared to Tampa. I think it's way more likely DJ Moore is gone than Mike Evans. And so while Burden could rise a little bit when Moore gets traded, now is the better time to get him versus Mbuka, because I still kind of think it's at least 50-50, if not 60-40, that Evans is back in Tampa, where Moore, I think it's probably like 80% he's gone. Like they'll trade him away. It makes too much sense and for it not to happen. So it's a tough situation because he didn't play himself into being a top 50 pick by any stretch, Burden that is, but I can at least see the path. The other thing that I think is a lot of promise is, of course, Ben Johnson. We just saw the Bears offense as a whole second half of the year play much better. The emergence of Loveland, some of the emergence of Burden. Now, again, Odunze was banged up. He was playing less, but DJ Moore had some of his better games. Swift had his better games down the stretch. So I think as a whole, the Bears, I think you can extrapolate. Like they finished well last year, right? They ended up with a very strong offense overall, but I think the potential is for it to go much higher. I think they very easily could be a top 5, top 3 offense in this league. And if that's the case, I think you want shares of Burden. This is more projection than some other guys. Part of this is I thought he was one of the more talented receivers in last year's class, and he was being undervalued in certain ways. And the Bears, I think, felt that to an extent as well. He, to me, is the poster boy of the second-year breakout. But unfortunately, we're not getting a discount on him. So I'll probably be like 6% in this range. Again, I don't want nothing, but I don't want to go over extreme. And I just like Odunze. Even if they were going back-to-back at ADP, I want Odunze over Burden. And the fact that I get around discount feels good as well. Next up, we do have a bit of a dip. Who's the next guy? It is, we are down to, it's either Higgins or Golden. Higgins, or they are back to back. So Golden is just above Higgins. I personally have Higgins higher than Golden, but I'll go in order. Matthew Golden, first round, essentially was a bust. A tough year because he had a situation very similar to Mbuka. Christian Watson was out the first half of the year. Jaden Reed missed a significant portion of time. Matthew Golden had every opportunity, and then Tucker Kraft late in the year. So there was just a lot of big target earners who were not playing, and he could not earn a role or earn targets in that situation. So could he have a second-year breakout? Yes. I do think Romeo Doubs moves on, but Christian Watson and Jaden Reed are back. Tucker Kraft should be back from injury. I think he's probably like the fourth option on this team. He's got some downfield ability, so maybe we see some spike weeks. Obviously, there were 0 touchdowns last year. That's not great. But I think he deserves to go definitely pick 100. I think 122 is slightly high on him, even if we are assuming Romeo Doubs is gone, which I think is the clear and fair assumption. But I just kind of like, for instance, I like Debo better. I like Romeo Doubs, Shaheed. I think you can make just as strong of a case for those guys because they could definitely filter into much better roles. The rookie here who I like a lot is Jaden Higgins. Early second round pick. big, tall, physical receiver, ended up with 41 catches, 68 targets, 525 yards, 6 touchdowns. He started so slow. Xavier Hutchinson was clearly above him. Just with the way the Texans often struggled as a whole early. They got better down the stretch. In fact, some best work was with Davis Mills. But they got better down the stretch. And while Higgins filled in some when Nico missed time, he was earning a bigger role later in the season. He was playing more like 40-50% of the snaps. Had some of his better games. Week 17 against the Chargers, he had 2 touchdowns. So I think there's a lot of promise for Higgins. Now Hutchinson is still there, but I'm just assuming, Xavier Hutchinson is a former 6th-round pick. Higgins was early 2nd-round pick. I think Higgins is going to just outplay him and win that job. You also have a situation, Christian Kirk, who didn't do much last year, but he's almost assuredly moving on as a free agent. We'll get to the other Texans second-year receiver in a little bit, but I think that just helps as well. There is the Tank Dell potentially back, but I'm just not going to be worried about Tank Dell, especially for Higgins' role. Him and Jalen Noel, I'll dive into a bit more there, but I know people point to Dell having this awesome connection with CJ Stroud. I'm going to point to the fact that he's a 5'7", 180-pound receiver who suffered 2 major injuries in the 2 years that he's played NFL football. He took all of last year off. Maybe he's back again, but I just wouldn't trust that. And I just don't see it impacting Higgins. I think if the Texans are smart going forward, they feature Higgins as the clear number 2 to Nico Collins. Kind of make this a, some of the teams that Huheems and I were talking about yesterday, the Lamb and Pickens, the poor man's version for sure. But there's no reason in my mind that Higgins can't earn 100 targets. And if you extrapolate that out like that, that's going to be a good year for him. He's also a touchdown maker. We saw that 6 touchdowns in limited work. I feel good about that. I feel good about the upside. CJ Stroud is a league average-ish quarterback, so there's plenty of situations. This is not the Caleb Williams upside. It's not even Jordan Love upside, but it's also not as bad as some of the receivers situations at quarterback that we're going to talk about. So I'm bullish on Higgins. I think you're getting a couple round value on him because I think he's a clear number 2. And it's, look at a Jordan Addison going at pick 99. Of course, Xavier Worthy projected as a number 2 going at 97. Juwan Jennings, a number 2, 112. Jaden Reed, 112. Like, you're getting a round or 2 value versus these other number 2s, Michael Pittman, QJ, et cetera, et cetera. So this is one of the ones I'm more bullish on. I want to be well over the field. Are there, chances that we get to camp and Xavier Hutchinson just outplays them? Yeah, there's a risk. But I think Higgins, I liked the trajectory of development from Higgins. And while he wasn't able to earn that job in camp, I think he was earning it as the season wore on. And that to me is promising and something I'm willing to bet in. Again, these are the types of second-year breakout receivers that we are talking about. And this is the issue. Higgins and Burton kind of had very similar situations, very slow starts, much better second half of the year, some big weeks, week 17, and early second round capital. Problem is we're paying a massive price for Higgins. We're Burton, we're getting Higgins at a much bigger discount. The offense alone of the Bears shouldn't justify that. Now, the other issue is, of course, Higgins has no upside of being the one. Nico is one of the best receivers in the league, where Burton and Odunze are that's more of a battle. But overall, I think Higgins is probably one of the best all-around values, because I don't think we need to make as big a projection jump for some people, and the current price is pretty nice. So the next receiver we have was technically the first receiver drafted, and that is Travis Hunter, obviously drafted as a receiver/corner. We saw it looked like in London he was making his breakout, and then of course gets hurt on the bye week, doesn't play anymore. Very unfortunate that his season was cut short. You just wonder what could have been. Like, they probably don't trade for Jacoby Myers. They are, Hunter is just a more featured part of the offense. Now you have a situation where the GM coach, just leaks from the team are that they're going to focus Hunter more on the defensive side of the ball. And I do think we need to react to that. And that's why his current ADP 148.7. I said it on the show with BBG the other day. I said it on the show with my sister. I want to see Hunter fall before I start taking him. I still am not going to quit Travis Hunter because end of the day, he is, I think, the most talented all-around receiver from last year's draft class. He's just also the most talented all-around corner from last year's draft class. I, though, point to the fact that receivers are, they paid a high price for him, trading up for him. They want to maximize their value. Liam Cohen's an offense-minded coach. They also want to maximize, of course, Trevor Lawrence. So for those reasons, and receivers just get more money than corners. It's just, whether we're talking top end of the market, Christian Gonzalez is about to sign the highest corner deal. It's going to be less than Jamar Chase, and it's definitely going to be less than, JSN's next receiver deal. And you just go down the line, and it's the same sort of thing. Like last year, guys coming off major injuries, Steph Diggs and Chris Godwin are signing for $23-25 million a year. Corners coming off injuries like that just don't sign for that money. So my take on it is Travis Hunter, even if nothing changes, still could, hit your lineup a couple times with spike weeks. But I also think a lot could change. It's so early in the process. These, leaks and things, so much can change from now until the start of the season, whether there's a trade of Brian Thomas Jr., Parker Washington. I don't think they're going to trade Jacoby Myers. Whether they just get more corners in via the draft or free agent signings, that they feel more comfortable with the position. Also, you have issues of an injury. If they're one of the top receivers go down, I don't know if they're going to then rely on some 6th-round rookie to keep Trevor Lawrence on track. They might rely on probably the best receiver on their team, and that's Travis Hunter. So I just think so much can change from now until then. I just want the discount value. So if he starts going in the 160s, I'm going to take a decent percentage. It's going to only be in like 8 or 9 wide receiver rooms. I do want to be very cognizant of that. I want to make sure it's in situations where I have like a strong core wide receivers, because there is the outcome where he only hits your lineup twice, and it's for like 15-point games, not even major spike weeks. But there's also enough potential out there where end of the year he is their top receiver, and just playing every snap and just a focal point of Liam Cohen, which, as we've seen, can be a very, very good thing. So before I go any further, let me get into chat, because I know I've been talking for quite a bit. So we got Al Boogie checking in. Hola, everyone. Hope you're doing well, Al. Paul saying, good afternoon. Can't wait to hear your analysis, since I disagree with the market most regarding this cohort of players. Second, 2 shares, Tet, 0 Mbuka, 0 Burton. Yeah, and I'm definitely lower on all those right now. I think I'm 0 Mbuka. I definitely have a couple shares of Tet and 1 or 2 shares of Burton. And as I said, I think those are the ones who are priced up, not necessarily the best values right now. We got Steam WC checking in. Good afternoon. Jamie saying, our sibling emoji. Pepper Tony saying, sup pups. We are going to get in draft soon, but I did want to finish up this discussion. WFN Warehouse, good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Meg telling the story how she threw me as a baby because it's my fault as a two-day-old that I pooped on her. Cute pic, though about 30 seconds later I was flying through the air. and now saying, I don't know why I believe you. All right, let's finish up this second year discussion, because now is some guys who I think there's a few potential real good values and some guys I'm indifferent on. Next guy I'm kind of indifferent on, Pat Bryant. We absolutely saw flashes with Pat Bryant last year, 3rd round rookie from Denver, earned a role, outperformed Marvin Mims, 49 targets, 31 catches, 378 yards, 1 touchdown. At the same time, he dealt with some concussions, dealt with some issues. He was clearly also behind Troy Franklin. I kind of view the Broncos situation as Courtland Sutton is kind of locked in as the one, and then Franklin is going to get the majority of the next share, but they kind of split 2, 3, and 4 and rotate these guys. So at this price, the fact that he goes ahead of Franklin just makes 0 sense to me. Franklin has some issues, but this is also a perfect example of the second year breakout. Didn't do much as a rookie, but then Franklin went for 104, 65 catches, 700 plus yards, 6 touchdowns. So just clearly outperformed Pat Bryant. And, Franklin also, has the Bo Nix connection. I don't understand why we're taking Pat Bryant ahead of Troy Franklin. That one makes 0 sense to me. If these were flipped, I'd feel about it a little bit better. I actually think Pat Bryant should probably even go more like 170s, 180s. And I do think Troy Franklin should be higher. I think Franklin's one of the better values, honestly, in this range. But I just have a tough time clicking Pat Bryant at this price. I do want exposure to Denver. I think Denver's offense is, a good offense and one we should be investing in. But I don't like his current ADP too much. So I'm going to be lower on Bryant if he stays at that price. And, that's just kind of where I'm at right now with it. There's some talk that Denver could invest in another receiver. That seems surprising to me, given, Franklin was a 4th rounder, Bryant was a 3rd rounder, Mims was a 2nd rounder. Of course, Sutton is kind of locked in, as I said. I think they're more likely to invest in a tight end because Evan Ingram was kind of a bust, which that too also could hurt the secondary wide receivers a little bit. So I'll right now be less on Pat Bryant. Next up, though, is a rookie I do like quite a bit, Chimere Degen. 4th round rookie, also excellent punt returner, but as a receiver, 74 targets, 48 yards, 48 receptions, 423 yards, 4 touchdowns. Definitely got better down the stretch. Utilized a lot out of the slot. Could play outside a little bit. I also like him with Brian Dable. Brian Dable has featured a lot of slot receivers in his offenses, and I just think he could, be a big time chain mover for Cam Ward and really keep the Titans offense, rolling. Like I would not be surprised to see DK, even because I expect Calvin Ridley to be cut. I expect the Titans to draft or sign at least one receiver. But I think DK, the only one that will worry me is if Wan'Dale signs there, which does have the Brian Dable connection. But they're just a little too similar from the slot. Other than that, they sign Romeo Doubs, they sign Alec Pierce, they sign Rashid Shaheed. Like, I think DK, that doesn't impact DK a lot. I think DK could easily be like 100 plus target guy next year. And also, he's a very dangerous return man. You're likely to get a return touchdown or 2. So don't be surprised to see a few extra touchdowns as well. Not that I think that you put a lot of stock in that because it's not super sticky, but the fact that he's out there can help him slightly for sure. So I kind of like this value. I think for a guy who to me, there's a lot of paths of him getting 100 plus targets, being the 1 or the 2 option in Tennessee. I'm taking him above so many of these guys. Even guys I like Josh Downs, Kayshon Boutte, Jalen McMillan. Even if Mike Evans leaves, like we're talking the clear number 3 in Tampa versus maybe the 1 in Tennessee. So I think DK has a lot of potential for surplus value. So I'm going to keep taking him at this price. I think he's one of the better breakout options. I do think his role can expand. There's a couple situations where it'd be more wary. Like I said, if Wandale goes there, I think that's the greatest fit for the two of them. Maybe you could find a way, but I think that would limit his upside a little bit. But that's honestly about it in terms of me being worried about DK's floor versus still having a pretty decent ceiling. Next up is another one of my favorites, Trey Harris, mid-second round guy last year. Despite the fact that catch-wise he was considerably behind the trio of QJ, Vlad, and Keenan Allen, he actually played way more snaps than people consider. A lot of them were rushing snaps, run down snaps, but he's playing in the red zone. He's got size, got physicality. He can play out wide at the X, or he can play out wide at either spot. And, right now we're looking at a situation where Keenan Allen is definitely moving on. The Chargers are going to have to make the decision on QJ. They could just keep Quentin Johnston one more year. But if not, then, are they going to pay him long term? So, potentially they'd trade him and even open up more room for Harris. But even if QJ is there, I think Harris can emerge as the second or at least the third option in this Chargers offense. And even if Vlad takes a more lion's share of the number 1, because last year was just kind of split between those 3 guys, which was definitely frustrating. But even if Vlad is the clear 1, and then I think it comes up to debate. Who's the number 2, Trey Harris or QJ? Keep in mind, Quentin Johnston was not drafted by the Harbaugh regime. And while, Mike McDaniel was not there for Trey Harris, I could see him liking and utilizing Trey Harris a little bit more than QJ. But we'll have to see. That is more debatable. But to me, there's at least an upside here of Harris being the clear, ending up as a number 2 for the Chargers. So not everyone has that kind of upside that we're about to talk about. And I do want to mention that. So I like the floor is, I think, better, much better this year. They should have highlighted it. He had 43 targets, 3 catches, 324 yards, 1 touchdown. So the floor is should easily be better with Keenan Allen likely moving on. But if he exceeds QJ, we're talking about a decent ceiling here. Like he could approach 100 targets. He could approach, 800 to 1,000 yards, 5 to 8 touchdowns. I think those are all well in play numbers for Trey Harris with an expanded second-year breakout. So those are something to keep in mind. Not near as much certainty, but I think the value that we're getting, and it's just an offense that we should be wanting to target. The Chargers were a very good offense last year, and I think they're improved in terms of health, offensive line, not only the offensive line health, the guys who were injured last year, but the Chargers have a lot of money to spend this year. I expect them to get aggressive in getting some interior offensive line help as well. And then, of course, I think Mike McDaniel is a big-time upgrade at offense coordinator. So we have a couple other guys here to talk about. Next up is third-round rookie Isaac Tesla, touchdown maker. Only 27 targets, 16 catches, 239 yards with 6 touchdowns. Just an absolute weapon in the red zone, back shoulder. And the good news for him is Khalif Raymond. Not that Khalif Raymond did a ton last year, but Khalif Raymond is a free agent. So this opens up a much clearer path to the wide receiver 3 role. Now, the downside is I don't think there's any real path, barring injury, of being above that. Amon-Ra and JMO are pretty locked into their roles. Talked about this Lions offense yesterday with Huheems, and Amon-Ra just gets such a massive target share. And JMO gets, vertical shots, deep shots. So Tesla is going to have this role. But the other thing that Tesla benefited from, we should keep in mind, is Sam Laporta's injury. Not having the tight end there, not having that red zone threat. Even their number 2 tight end, Brock Wright, was hurt. So if Laporte is back healthy as expected, you have Jahmyr Gibbs there. I think Tesla has value, but I don't think we can expect to say more touchdowns. In fact, he might get less touchdowns. I think he's going to get more targets. I think he'll get more catches, more yards. But touchdowns, he's probably kind of maxed in that 6, maybe 7 if you're super lucky range. But don't be surprised if it's more like 4. So in this area, I think that's okay. You'll probably get some usable weeks, maybe a spike week if you're lucky, but he's not a guy that I'm going to take much above this area. Like in the 170s, sure, but probably not a guy who should creep into the 160s. Next guy up is Torrey Horton. This one is a more interesting situation. Another guy who really got a lot of touchdowns on very little work. 22 targets, 13 catches, 161 yards, 5 touchdowns. He got banged up, and then they trade for Rashid Shaheed and just shut down Horton. So he wasn't really there for the playoff and Super Bowl run. Definitely contributed early in the season, don't get me wrong. But the problem is, even if Shaheed leaves in free agency, which is probably the most likely outcome, they have JSN and Cooper Kupp. I know people want to dunk on Cooper Kupp, but as we saw in the playoffs, as we saw in the Super Bowl, Cooper Kupp can still play some football. I think Horton is a fine pick in this range, but he's probably just a spike week guy. He's probably just going to get a couple targets a game. If he hits a deep shot, you can get 10, 12, 15 points. Maybe he sneaks in a 20-point game, but I just wouldn't expect a lot of ceiling. Now, the one thing I will say is Cooper Kupp, for all the strengths that he does have, he's also extremely injury prone. So if he misses significant time, maybe Horton can exceed that a little bit more. But I think he's fine in this range. Somebody to mix in, 193, 180s, absolutely worth taking some shots on, whether in Darnold stacks or just in general. I just don't know if there's as much ceiling as we'd love. Next guy does have a little bit of ceiling. That's Elegant Manor. He actually outproduced DK in terms of targets, catches, yards, and both had 4 touchdowns. DK obviously had the return upside there as well. The issue with Io Manor was a 4th round pick like DK. The problem is he's more likely to be replaceable. If they add an outside receiver, I think he's pushed down. And where DK's ability to play in the slot, this is a situation where sometimes slot players can be seen as too redundant. I actually think Io Manor, they're going to look for outside help. If they draft a guy in the first round like Tate or Tyson, that big hurt, that hurts Io Manor quite a bit. They sign Pierce, they sign Dubs. Again, that's hurting Io Manor way more than it's hurting DK. So now, conversely, if they sign Wandale, then maybe Io Manor is in a better situation. I think he's worth taking. I think likely he stays in the top 3 of this team's receivers. So I think there is the ability for him to at least put up this level of production. And this level of production, if not slightly higher, would more than justify, ADP 195. So I'm, even though I was pretty out on him last year, he did enough, and I think will maintain like a top 3 role, at least on this team. Now, the question is he the top receiver? Is he the number 2? Is he the number 3? I think that's all up for debate. So I think there's a ceiling outcome here. I just think he's less likely to hit that ceiling outcome. But I like the floor that he has. I think he returns value basically anywhere 170 or below. And you even see him fall sometimes to 200. So I like him from a value perspective as a good floor play. I got to round out a receiver room. I don't think he's going to put up a lot of big time spike weeks because I just don't see him as a major target earner where he's, even last year he'd have a touch, the games with touchdowns he'd produce, but he's not going to go out there and earn 10 targets every week and 8 catches for 120 and, a touchdown. So, he's not a guy I'm going to go overboard with, but at this current price, I think he's one of the better values. I like him better than a lot of the rookies below him. some other like questionable young guys. So I think he's a fine pick. So we'll wrap it up with a few other quick names. Kyle Williams, third round pick last year, 21 targets, 10 catches, 209, 3 touchdowns. Got some deep shots. I think it becomes, do the Patriots add an outside weapon? Do the Patriots trust Kayshon Boutte and Matt Collins again? If he's just contending versus those two, I like taking some Kyle Williams shots. What I worry about is they add somebody else and then he gets a little buried. Next up, another third rounder, Jalen Knoll. Talked about it before. I think it's kind of going to come down to him and Tank Dell. He didn't do near as much as Higgins, as we could see. But I do believe there is upside to him as well. And I just trust him to be on the field more than Tank Dell. And given the price difference between him and Tank Dell, I'd much rather invest in him at 228 than Tank Dell at like 175 is where I'm at with it. Couple more to go. Jack Besh, second round pick, definitely a disappointing year. 29 targets, 20 catches, 224 yards, no touchdowns. But here's the thing: the offensive coordinator is going to be improved. The quarterback's going to be improved. Right now, season starts today. He's probably the number 2 receiver on the team, number 3rd option behind Brock Bowers. Trey Tucker above him as well would be my guess. The issue is the Raiders have a ton of money. They also could draft somebody in the early second round this year who, it's this staff drafting. So you'd have a little bit of concern. I think he probably operates best as like a power slot guy. I can play a little outside as well. And he should see the field because he's a pretty decent blocker. So keep that in mind. Excuse me. And so I do like mixing him in as a 20th round click, whether it's in a Mendoza stack or not. But it would not shock me as a second round guy if they let him. Raiders have a lot of needs. So while they have a lot of money, they could focus most of their resources, picks outside of Mendoza, and money on fixing the O-line, which is a necessity, and fixing the defense, which is also a necessity. So maybe they just bring in a very minor receiver threat, and Betch still has a role. That will be an interesting thing. If they bring in Rashid Shaheed, would that hurt Betch some? But probably is still draftable at this point. But if they bring in something, go on and get Alec Pierce, I'd be a little bit more wary, or trade for Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman and Betch, I think, operate very similarly, so I think that would be a big hit. So keep an eye on what the Raiders do, but right now I'm willing to take some shares. The other guy right here, there's no doubt Isaiah Bond, he had a off the field issue that kept him from being drafted. It got cleared. The Browns signed him late in the camp, and he ended up playing a decent amount. He was a deep threat for him, 18 catches, 338 yards, no touchdowns. Definitely a bit of an electric player. The concern I have is mainly it's the Browns. Their offense just could be really bad. It's a new staff, so how does Todd Monken and company feel about them? B, he's probably not ahead of Jerry Jeudy. Is he ahead of Cedric Tillman? Maybe. But also they have a ton of picks. They could be drafting 1 or 2 receivers and could jump there. So he's a guy I sprinkle in. I've taken him like in a Shador lineup. And that's the other issue, is just the quarterback play is just so questionable right now. Where even if he is a starter, there just might not be a lot there for him because if, Bannon and Jeudy are ahead of him in the pecking order, how much is left over if you have one of the worst quarterback situations in offense in the league? Probably not a ton, but as a deep threat, he didn't get a touchdown last year, but he gets a touchdown. Those are going to be very usable weeks. So I'll mix them in, but going to have very little of them. Same with the next guy, Tez Johnson. Even if Mike Evans leaves, he's no better than the 4th on this team, so I'm not really going to take him. There is one guy left that I will take, or two guys, I should say. Jalen Royals. Currently, right now, the Chiefs wide receiver room has Juju, Tyquan Thornton, and Marquise Brown, all as free agents. That is a significant portion of their snaps last year. You have Rashee Rice dealing with a major off the field issue, could be suspended, could, even a path for him being cut. Whether it happens or not, Royals could step into a bigger role this year. Chiefs have a lot of other issues to fix on the offensive line, running back, defensive line, defensive back. So I don't know how much money they're going to spend on the position, how many high picks they're going to spend on the position. They very well could. I mean, it's, you want to give Patrick Mahomes the best chance to succeed, but there are paths where Jalen Royals is easily a top 3 receiver for Kansas City, particularly if something happens with Rice. And he would probably fill in that Rice role quite a bit. Guys like Thornton and KLS, unless something really changes on the depth chart, I'm not taking them. The last guy I want to mention is Jalen Lane from my Washington Commanders. Another guy, kind of like DK, had 2 punt returns for a touchdown, didn't have any regular touchdowns, 32 targets, 16 catches, 225 yards, kind of was a deep shot guy, would get like 1 or 2 looks a game outside of a handful of games. He had things opened up for him because Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, Luke McCaffrey all get injured above him. Chris Moore missed time. I mean, Washington was signing guys like Traylon Burks and Chosen Anderson off the street, or Robbie Chosen, whatever he goes by now. They're just signing guys off the street. Lane, didn't make the most of it, but he was starting to earn a little bit of a role. Right now, all those guys outside Terry McLaurin and Luke McCaffrey are free agents. So he has a path. I do think Washington adds somebody, but I think kind of him and Luke McCaffrey are fighting for probably the number 3 role in the team. Whether Washington drafts somebody or whether they sign a free agent, that's probably going to be Terry and that guy. They're 1-2, and then Lane and McCaffrey are probably fighting for the 3. So, also keep in mind, currently Washington doesn't have a tight end or a back who can catch the ball. So, if those things, if they go out and sign Isaiah Likely, not great. But if they sign Charlie Kohler as their tight end, then that should be more targets for the wide receivers. If they don't sign a good pass catching back, if they go out and sign Rashard White or Kenneth Gainwell, that probably hurts. But if they run it back with JCM and Chris Rodriguez and, even hopefully not Jeremy McNichols, then there's just more opportunity for wide receivers to step up. I'm not going to take a ton, but 1-2% on a guy like Jalen Lane in the 20th round, I don't think is a bad click. And you can make the same call for Jimmy Horn, but I just think Lane's is a higher upside option. So that wraps it up. I know that was kind of a long talk on receivers, but I did want to hit through everyone. And we are going to get into the draft, and then I'm going to hit up chat after we jump in. So we are going to get into a big board. I'm going to count it down and enter in 10 seconds. And in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, enter. All right, waiting on 4. A lot of chat. Sorry, I missed this. Sister of the year. No, I do have a great sister. We have our sibling showdowns, but we do have a good relationship. Peppertoni. Brian was very involved and targeted when healthy, obviously needs to stay in the field, but looked like the best. Yeah, I mean, Franklin was still out targeting Bryant, but there was a stretch of games where it looked like Bryant was going to be more and more involved. I just kind of question it. I more question the ADP is where it's at. And Bryant had a couple concussions, so that is concerning. Still waiting on 2 people for the big board. Like Rob, famously an Iomana fan, DK is the very clear number 2, Steve. Possibly. We got Nap God in here. What up, Steve? It's Napa Ball. Yeah, Meg, famously mispronouncing his screen name. Good to see you though. So we're in. We get Sweet Leaf in the 1. Not sure if they're in here. I'm in the 3 spot. Mr. Mufasa in the 7. Legion in the 9. And I definitely recognize some other names. Let me know if anyone's in chat. Laporta will be back and hurt JMO and Tesla. Yeah, no, I do worry about, like, I want to take him because I think he's the clear 3rd receiver now. Cleve Raymond should move on, you know, and just anyone who has a touchdown role, you know, can obviously hit your lineup. It just takes, you know, touchdowns. Even a 1-yard touchdown is 6.6 points. So, you know, I don't want to have 0 Tesla just because it's such a great offense. But I do think Laporta hurts quite a lot. Boogie JMO, we talked about this with Hames yesterday. Well, it's tough because there's no doubt that the Laporta injury helped JMO. I actually think it helped Gibbs quite possibly the most. I'll go Chase. I just generally favor Chase over Puka. I think it helped Gibbs the most and definitely helped Tesla as well. At the same time, also right around the same time, as like a week before the Laporta injury, is when you had Dan Campbell take over play calling duties. He was clearly not happy with Johnny Morton's play calling, and you know, then you saw JMO have a pretty good game, and then of course Laporta gets hurt and JMO takes off. So, you know, I think there's more than one reason why JMO had a much better second half, but there's no doubt that the Laporta injury impacted it. We got Hulk Smashed Potatoes in here checking in. Now we get the best in the class and the generations. Randy Moss, Alec Manor. That's a take. Got Losimo checking in. GM, hope you're doing well. Paulino, I kind of like to mix in Noel at the end now that he's not 100% drafted. Didn't get a lot of snaps, but he showed good ability. Yeah, Noel had a couple nice catches. It was just very inconsistent, even more inconsistent than Higgins. But I honestly think both could have, you know, good second-year breakouts. And I think we're not paying the price for him. You know, to Legion's point earlier, like the Burden and Buka, even T-Mac, though T-Mac, at least we know he's locked in as the one. Like the others, we don't. We are paying very high prices for him. Higgins in the 120s, and sometimes he falls to the 130s. And Noel essentially free at the end of drafts, I think are much, much better options. I'm a Noel fan. I just don't trust the Texans. Plus, Stroud is Dell's biggest fan. I mean, I know Stroud and Dell have that connection. I just don't know if that's going to matter. You know, like, and I know he was coming back from an injury, but people said Dell was going to be above Diggs. That wasn't the case. Then Diggs gets hurt, and then Dell gets hurt soon after that. Yeah, you know, I think end of the day, it's going to be like, I don't think they're going to cut Tank Dell. And honestly, the other reason I like the Texans is I don't think they had anyone. They have Hutchinson for one more year, Tank Dell for another year. Like, I think those are their top 5 receivers. But I kind of see Hutchinson as the 4, Dell as the 5. You know, they'll get him on the field every now and then. And that could slightly limit the upside for guys like Higgins and Noel, but I don't think by much. Usually I'd take Pickens ahead, but I'll take London here. So wide receiver start. Don't do that a lot. I might try and do a more, you know, later running back build. I don't think I've done one on stream. I take that back. I think that I did one where I pushed running back slightly, but we'll see. Maybe depending on what comes back to me, I might do something different this one. Yeah, Royals hitting would continue the trend of it. Yeah, I didn't take much Royals after the draft just because I thought he was going to be pretty buried on that team. Yeah, this, as much as I like Kenneth Walker, This feels like a really fun start of Chase, London, and Pickens. So I'm going to go with that. But yeah, I mean, pre-draft, I was taking a good bit of Royals. I thought he'd get a little better draft capital and definitely thought he'd have a better landing spot. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like he needed to refine some of his game, and I think he went to the right place to do so. He obviously is going to have a great quarterback, and if Rice misses time, then I will be taking Royals. Now what you want to do is buy back massively in year 3 when he does again. Yeah, exactly. Story as old as time. Yep, we've all been there. So yeah, this is the issue with McMillan. I mean, Rice, that situation's its own thing, but it's like, you got these guys, McConkey, who's actually his ADP past him, but McConkey, Olave, AJ Brown, yeah, I'm taking those guys over McMillan. I want these running backs typically over him. He's just, I think he should go about 12 picks later. Like he should be in the low 140s. Let's go, Steve. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see if we can land it. I mean, I definitely don't think I have a Chase, London, Pickens lineup. You know, I will definitely be more aggressive with running backs than a lot of people, just because I do value it more. But I think we'll probably target this to be a late round tight end team, and this could be probably with these 3 wide receiver stardom. Probably it's no more than a 7 wide receiver team. I can't see myself needing to go 8 when those are my top 3 picks. And we'll see what we get back here. Yeah, I could even go 4th. Don't really love, like mentioned, not a fan of Mbuka. That'd be rated AP. Not a huge fan of Burden at that price. Might go elite quarterback there with Lamar. Do need to get on the running back train at some point, but let's see what gets back to me. All right. I mean, I have him ranked 30th. I'm getting him at 46. This is, I could quite possibly have 4 of the top 10 wide receivers. I mean, if Drake London stays healthy, Adams stays healthy, that is very live with this group. Maybe I'll just keep up the bit and take another receiver here. I could stop at 6 wide receivers. Yeah. This is where I'm at, Hulk. I just can't take Ted over those guys. Young, absolutely. Like, Young was okay last year, but I thought he'd make a bigger jump. Carolina might have overplayed themselves with the Thielen trade. I think they would have been. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I mean, you are rarely going to see me do this, but this is going to be like a 7 running back team, maybe even an 8 running back team, depending on how things go. I might stop at 6 for wide receivers. This receiver room is insane, but now it does come down to landing the plane, because this wide receiver room doesn't mean anything if I'm getting 6 points a game from my running backs. And I think the Panthers, particularly with Coker being injured for a good chunk of the year early, trading away Thielen left Bryce Young without a reliable receiver early. Like I said, him and Ted had a tough time getting on the same page. Ted has the higher upside. I mean, we just saw Leggett. It's just not it. And they were, they didn't have the tight ends, so there just weren't the weapons. It really took, Rico Dowdle stepping in. That's the only reason they made the playoffs, which is wild because they're essentially getting rid of the guy. So yeah, Tet's upside is just not on the same level. I mean, I do think his skill set at least allows him, even on limited targets and with limited quarterback play, he could have 10 touchdowns. He definitely has that skill set. We've seen that with a guy like Courtland Sutton, who's just a red zone menace, even with some bad quarterback years, can be just such a red zone threat. So Hulk saying, yeah, this wide receiver is sick. I mean, as you know, I rarely do this, especially the fifth receiver. Like 4 wide receivers I've definitely done before. Fifth wide receiver, because I'm, of the mindset of, I know for a fact one of these 5 will not hit my lineup every week. Now, obviously, this buy is obviously I'm trying to get the high ceiling outcomes, but that's why it's tough to take running back over it. Steve, didn't you hear Adams is old, so his 14 touchdowns don't count as much? Yeah, I mean, he led the league in touchdowns despite missing 3 games, and it led by 3. I don't think anyone else had more than 11. So sign me up. So definitely need to not look at the running back or not look at the wide receiver position for a bit. So hopefully there's no screaming values coming up. And we're going to have a Ramondre Stevenson anchor build. What could possibly go wrong? Not sure if I like Jalen Warren for this. Might do it. I might go quarterback here. Unfortunately, Jaden went and Burrow went. It's been really fun to get one of them. But I'm okay going May. I'm okay getting Hurts unstacked. Jalen Warren. Just could pull up Dak. I think I just take the value here. I mean, May, this is a discount. Obviously can be one of the elite quarterbacks in this league. It's a team correlation with Ramondre. Could target like Henry later as a tight end. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely going to be a unique build for me. But I do want to mix it in, I think if you can, and I think you can do it in any way, whether in, hit him with the gritty, one of the more polarizing players, because he builds away, but he generally has a good advance rate. He's had some, deeper playoff runs. I don't think he's won anything big, but he has success with it. And I think when you can take stands and, go build a certain way, the problem that I have is when people have these kind of wide receiver starts and still draft 8 or 9, and it's or definitely 8 in when we're down to 18 rounds, and it's just what are you doing at that point? The bottom of that wide receiver group is just never going to hit your lineup. So I think there's always a way to do it properly, and this is going to have to be a 7 running back build for it to work. But if I hit the right ones, I think there's a path forward. And I took May because while I'll still probably go 3 quarterbacks, I'm probably going to need weight for my next. I'm not going to, in this middle range of 8, 9, 10, when a lot of quarterbacks do go, I just don't think I can take one. I'm probably going to I might need to hit running back up 3 in a row to catch up. So that was my philosophy. Even if Diggs comes back, I don't think I can do it for the stack. Got Frog Clone checking in, like the star a lot. Yeah, and that's the thing. I do like it. It's to me, it's much harder to land this plane, but it's possible when we're going to try. Yeah, I like some of these running backs. Non-guy, not as much on Hubbard. Corm's okay. Dowdle, Algier, price goes. Corm goes. I'll go Dowdle. Definitely Dowdle over Hubbard. I think a much clearer path to starting. Diggs is so tempting as far as the stack, and if I took Diggs, I think I'd be done at 6 receivers, which is super tempting in its own right. One problem with that is, like, if I go 7 receivers, I can take 2 receivers with my last 2 picks, and there's depth at receiver there. Other positions don't necessarily have that depth. Question is here, do I go Matt Stafford? I just think I need to catch up a running back. So I'm going to go Tyler Algier, another free agent who has a path to land a starting role. I need guys who are going to get usage. I think both Dowdle and Algier can accomplish that. It's kind of open as to how big their roles are going to be. But I at least feel that I have a core of running backs now. Yeah, Pitts is tempting also. If I did Pitts, I think it'd definitely be a 2 tight end build. That was a tough one, having Diggs and Stafford there. But I think when we get post draft and we know more of the running back market, right now there's so many things are murky, and in here I'm maybe taking advantage of it, and that's why I went with guys like Dowdle and Algier, because if they get good landing spots, they're going to go way up. They could both be in the 70s, if not higher. Where a guy like now Corm went off the board before I took him, but I don't think he's going to go way up. Like, he might go 5 spots, he might go down 5 spots. He's going to stay in the relative range, not just post draft, but like 3 weeks from now when free agency hits. So that's why I wanted to take these guys now. But yeah, it's really starting to thin out. And I think in post-draft, 5 receiver start, you can, we know who are the late round running backs. We're going to be wrong on some, we're going to be right on some, but at least we know, like right now, the late round running backs we're taking are guys who might not even be on their team, or they could be the 2, they could be the 5 on the team, which means they're not doing anything. So there's just so much uncertainty right now at the bottom of this market. A few guys who I think are better than others, and I might be tacking those guys on as my 6th, 7th running back. But yeah, right now, I would rather be taking 2 receivers late, just because there, to me, is just way more certainty on still on the board. Don't want to. I think I still go running back here. Quarterback, there's still some options. Kincaid, a little bit of a fall, but not enough for it to warrant. John Coleman goes. I will take my guy Emmett Johnson. So yeah, I'm feeling better. Still might hit another running back here at 123. I don't love the Woody Marks click. I think Kenneth Gainwell and Tracy, they're okay, but they're not going to get back to me. Definitely not a tight end here. think I will just do one more running back. I think I will go Tyrone Tracy, because I think he's kind of the safest. I mean, you could make the argument 40 marks, but depending on what Houston does at running back, I mean, if it's Joe Mixon, Woody Marks, I think Woody Marks is fine at that price. If it's they sign somebody, if they draft somebody, Woody Marks could end up being a much worse value. I think Tracy is kind of the clear 2 to Scatterboo, but at least he's kind of the clear 2. There's a little bit of a risk with the new regime and everything, but now I feel a bit caught up at RB. Giotto checking in. Appreciate that. I hope you're doing well. Let's see, Legion is sitting at 1451. Sweetleaf, again, not sure if they're in here, but 3341. And Mr. Mufasa at 1541. If anyone else, please let me know. But no, this is a more unique draft for me, that's for sure. So yeah, Dobbins went. Dobbins was one I maybe would have even taken another running back if he gets it back to me. But yeah, he doesn't go. So here I'm probably looking at my first tight end, maybe a quarterback. If something gets back to me, I could, Romeo Doubs or Sheed there. I like them, but probably not enough over just, quarterback or tight end. So Connor's still out there running back. It's at least intriguing. I could, double tap tight end. Could take a quarterback and tight end. We'll see what gets to me. So I think I'm going to go tight end first. Then I'll decide if I get another one or take one of these quarterbacks. One of those 3 quarterbacks are there. I think I'm taking them. I'm assuming one will, especially with Sweetleaf having 3 quarterbacks right now. And this other one took Lamar and Hurts, so not sure if they're adding to the room. Andrews goes, yeah, I'm going to go Kyler. I think a lot of upside and don't know where he's at, but it's not like I wouldn't know where Malik Willis is at. I don't have a stack with Young or DJ. So I could consider Penix late. I just don't really love Penix, for where he goes. But this could end up being a Michael Penix team as a 3rd quarterback, but might even wait for a later guy. Running backs getting really thin. Might jump back in with one of these names. Receiver, I still think I'd probably wait. Maybe the last 2 rounds and just kind of have them as just pure insurance guys. more or less just hoping that they can fill in for bye weeks. Tight end. So, ideally probably a running back and tight end with my next 2 picks. Quarterback, Penix had ADP 169 is just off to me. I'm not sold that he's going to be ready for week 1. I mean, this is third ACL tear in the last 6-7 years. That's a lot, and he's had other big injuries as well. So I question that in and of itself, and I question if he'll even be the starter. I could absolutely see Stefanski bring somebody in. I know he's made some positive comments to Michael Penix, but he's also made comments like, we'll see, So I like Travis Hunter going to 159 there. That's what I'm hoping to see more of. Get him in the 160s. I think Legion gets a great pick at 160 with Troy Franklin. So coming up in 2 picks. Oh, Hunter Henry comes back to me. Did not expect that. I will take that. So maybe I take a third tight end there, but probably get one of these 3 running backs, assuming one falls back there. Don't mind Vidal. So Tucker goes. I'm higher in Katron Allen. Braylon Allen. I'll go Katron. Get another rookie. Get a little bit more upside to the room. Is that the U.S. hockey game, I'm guessing? What's fill me in. I'm not watching. Let me know what the score of that game is. So I saw Canada won. So that'd be a fun gold medal game. Coming back up. DK goes, let's get a nice pick. Definitely my top tight end targets. One of those are there. Aaron Rodgers, Penix. The quarterbacks I look at. Running back. Sampson, Brian Robinson, Nicholas Singleton. Daniel Wilson, who I'm just higher on. Receiver-wise, maybe if Cooper Jr.'s there, I'd consider it. Definitely not going to force myself in any Patriot, like a Kyle Williams or Mac Hollins. If it's a tiebreaker, maybe Kyle Williams is my last pick, but not going to force it. Nice. Well, definitely let me know if there's any more scores. Definitely going to do another draft after this. Just saw this on ESPN. I just went to it and saw they scored, and it's 1-0. Apparently, there's some report. Andy Reid saying that it sounds like Travis Kelce, kind of made positive communication about Kelsey coming back. So I'm gonna keep buying him, especially with he kind of had a dip in last week. So by no means a guarantee, but I think there's a lot of surplus value there. Oh, okay. Nicholas Singleton went. I would have taken him. I'm going to get my third tight end. I will go Dalton Schultz over Hawkinson, just knowing where he's at. Cooper Jr. is interesting. I might just grab Aaron Rodgers, third quarterback, be done with it. Yeah, don't have a stack, but I also don't particularly care. I just want some certainty because the position right now is, not great. We got Chad Candles checking in, GM. Hope you're doing well. This, Chad, if you're just catching in, this is a very un-Steve-O draft of Drake May, Kyler Murray, but my running back room, Ramondre, Rico, Tyler Algier, Evan Johnson, Tyron Tracy, Katron Allen. I went 5 receivers in a row. Jamar Chase, Drake London, George Pickens, Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin. I'm on the clock. We are going to eliminate Hawkinson. No receiver that I have to have. Only just take a third quarterback that I feel good about. Running back is picked over as well. Went 5 receivers in a row and have stopped. I'm going to add 2 more here at the end. Tight end is now set. I think we're going late round. It's a pretty good room. Goddard, Henry, Schultz. Running back, I'd like to add 1 more. Ramondre, Rico, Tyler Algier, Emma Johnson, Tyron Tracy, Katron Allen. I'm going to need some luck for this room, but I think it is at least functional enough. And normally I like to have my flex come from the running back position just because running backs generally score more. But this time, I'm probably most weeks just going to be hopeful for 2 backs. So we'll see how we can land this group. A very 2024 meta draft. Yeah, exactly. But no, I wanted to mix it up, and it just the receivers just kept falling to me. London at 22, Pickens at 27, Adams at 46, and I'm much higher than Adams. Terry McLaurin at 51. That's essentially where I have him. So I got values on all of them, and even more values. Like I'm higher on Pickens and Adams than their current ADP. So to me, it's just like, all right, you're just giving it to me. I'll do it. Omar would have been nice. Yeah, that was tempting. It was very tempting. I think I wanted maybe a little too much certainty. That would have been, I could have taken Omar Cooper there and, potentially had Schultz come back to here. But then I would have had Aaron Rodgers, or I could have taken Rodgers and then just, punt it at the third tight end. My issue, or not my issue, but it's just there's still so many receivers with some viability, whether it's like this won't be a Keenan Allen team. I'm going to take Cooper Kupp. We just need somebody to fill in. I'm not expecting spike weeks. I'm just looking for a floor, and that is Keenan Allen there. I think we'll take running back next. Ideally, Najee Harris, just because I think he can land a better situation than many of these guys. So yeah, I'll take Naj. Hope he's healthy. Hope he lands a decent role. I think there's just a better path forward than a few of these other players. So we will go, I think, 1 more receiver. I think we're good at 7 running backs. It's not the strongest 7 RB team for the build. I maybe could have, just going back looking at it, I think had I taken, I could have taken Connor over Goddard. That easily would have been, left myself in a stronger position. I could have taken like Vidal over Henry, but Henry was a stack, another tight end. So probably had I done one of those, I would have felt a little bit better about it. But overall, I think it's a pretty good team. Maybe I could have waited for Gesicki as my last tight end. He's just not always there. I'm not sure if I want Bateman, Allen. Ideally, I land one of these two. I don't think I'd go Allen just on a 7 wide receiver build, even though, boy, talk about if he plays another year, this team's wide receiver room is insanely loaded. Chris Bell, I think Hollywood's a little safer. Again, for me, this last pick is mainly security. I mean, there's some upside plays here. I'm clicking now, but I don't know. I think Besh would be my top choice. Yeah, if Rice gets suspended, that's definitely a boost to Kelsey. And just in general, I mean, Kelsey finishes tight end 3 in total points, tight end 9 in, I think, points per game. That's with Mahomes missing that time at the end. So I think Kelsey can be fine. Frog Clone saying, I need to stop being scared and draft more Pickens. Yeah, I think Pickens is really good. I think he's staying in Dallas. I would be absolutely shocked if something happens outside of that. And I think the only way he leaves, it's not free agency, it'd be via trade. Like it'd be a sign and trade or a tag and trade situation. So Besh goes, I don't know if I... You know what? I don't have a ton of Kyle Williams. I will just tack him on. Maybe he's a spike week guy. Not sure why it's saying network error. So grab a drink and I will review these teams. So I went 3-7-7-3. May, Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers. Running back, I waited, but I think I relatively caught up here with 5 in a row. Stevenson, or close to 5 in a row. Stevenson, Dowdle, Tyler Algier, Emmett Johnson, Tyron Tracy, then added Katron Allen and Najee Harris. We'll need a little luck for the rookies. We'll need a little luck with these 3 free agents for sure, but to me, there's at least a path forward. Wide receiver room, Alpha after Alpha, Chase, London, Pickens, Adams, Terry McLaurin. Got 3 1s, 2 of the 3 best number 2s, with T. Higgins being the only other one in there. And just, I mean, there's paths, particularly with any sort of injury, for guys like Pickens and Adams to even outscore their alpha receiver on their team. And then kind of went floor and ceiling here. Floor of Cooper Kupp, ceiling with Kyle Williams, also part of a stack. And then finally, Dallas Goedert, Hunter Henry, and Dalton Schultz. Got a little value on all of them. And even more so, like I'm higher in Schultz, I'm higher in Henry, I'm higher in Goddard. So all are really good values to me. Not sure Sweet Leaf's in here, but I will just run through the team real quick. Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, Bijan Robinson, Josh Jacobs, Bucky Irving. So kind of very much the opposite I did. 3 running backs in a row. Then waited with Sean Tucker, Ray Davis, and Justice Hill. Not sure what to make of the Hill versus Mitchell versus Ravens adding somebody else. situation this offseason. That's something that definitely bears watching. Then they went Buka, Watson, Matthew Golden, Jaden Higgins, Romeo Dubs, Jalen McMillan, Trey Harris, Omar Cooper Jr. So, took 8 receivers. I maybe would have gone 9 with this kind of build just because, obviously I like Higgins, I like Dubs. There's a lot of guys there's the other side of the coin, like McMillan, has paths where he's not near as valuable, stuff like that. But there's a lot of receivers I do like in this room. Just maybe would have added a 9th overall. Like, I don't know how much Justice Hill adds to the team when you have those top 3 guys. And I think Sean Tucker's a pretty solid pick as well. Tucker Kraft, Cade Otton, and Pat Freiermuth. Very strong tight end room. And, if Otton is back in Tampa, really stacked up the Bucs. If that offense takes off this year, this team could really be in a strong position. Mr. Mufasa, 3593. Trevor Lawrence, Fernando Mendoza, Bryce Young. Running backs, Jeremiah Love, Kenneth Walker, Jadarian Price, Dave Montgomery, and JCM. I get stopping at 5 here. I'm a little bit more wary on JCM. It's obviously paths where it ends up being a valuable pick. But just for that reason, I probably like Montgomery. I think has a strong floor, whether it's with the Lions, whether it's with somebody else. To me, he's got a strong floor. JCM, it's a wide open range for his outcomes. But I get it. There is the upside case. Currently, right now, he's the only running back on the roster. Amon-Ra, J-Mo, Kyle Lemon, Marvin Harrison. So 4 receivers early, then waited. Unfortunately didn't get the Jared Goff. I'm sure he's targeting that, but didn't work out for Goff with this big Detroit stack. Jerry Jeudy, Trey Tucker, Jerry Bernard, Christian Kirk, Richard Bateman, and then Brenton Strange, AJ Barner, TJ Hawkinson. So went later tight end. I think that's a solid room. Don't get why AJ Barner falls at all. So I think that's a nice pick there. And then Legion was the last one, right? Yeah. Legion goes 3, 5, 10, 2. Stafford, Darnold, Shedeur Sanders. Went 4 running backs early. I think we kind of flip builds as we typically do. Achane, Henry, Scadaboo, Swift. Then waited till Mike Washington late to round out the room. But then he just stacks up receivers here. DK Metcalf, Jacoby Myers, QJ. So 3 in the top, 90 picks. Shakir, which I think is a good value pick there. Debo, I like the value there. I like the value with Sheed. So really, I like how he did this. DK may be the only true alpha receiver potentially, but Jacoby Myers, if he plays like he did down the stretch, that's a good pick. QJ, continues to play like he did. Shakir, I think is fine. Debo and Shaheed, I think are good values. Same with Franklin. Same with Surratt, Noel, as I mentioned earlier, Bond. So yeah, really just kind of stacked up young guys at the end. These last few picks, some free agents. So nice balance that I like. And then Loveland, Njoku, nice solid tight end room. I mean, Loveland, if you'd, and obviously the ADP shows that, but I actually think if you put a percentage wise on who will finish tight end 1 this year, I think Loveland, his ADP is undervalued for it. I mean, he's the 3rd tight end, but I think he's almost as live as McBride and Bowers, just given the strength of the Bears offense, the upside, the growth of it, etc., versus the uncertainty for the Cardinals, uncertainty for the Raiders. I like the Loveland call at 40 than those guys in the top 20. So yeah, I like that. I like that room. I like that build, and I think that turned out pretty well. And also, got some falls on quarterbacks, which are nice as well. So let's get into another draft. Prodigal saying I've been drafting Nico, but might want to even it out more. Yeah, I mean, I think Pickens versus Nico. It's just, yeah, Nico's the clear alpha, but Pickens to me, he's a one, or worth a one. And just that offense, we know when Dak's healthy, throwing for 4,000 plus yards, throwing for 30 plus touchdowns. That's what we're looking for. Peanut Punch saying balanced build as always. Definitely not for me, not my normal build. But yeah, let's get into next draft. I generally like more balanced builds, or running back focus, but so we'll see what we do with this one. But I did like mixing it up. So I will count it down again, count it down from 10. And in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, enter. So waiting on 7. Thank you everyone for jumping in, chat, jumping in the drafts. Really appreciate it. As always, please like this episode if you're not a subscriber. We appreciate you subscribing. Other ways to help the channel, we have a free Discord. You can jump in, plenty of good conversation there. Also, we have our Substack. It's a year-long one-time payment. You also get a free 7-day trial, so you can check it out. And finally, you can help us out with our YouTube memberships. Feel free to check that out as well. We appreciate all the support, and I'm enjoying doing this. Most days I will be back tomorrow. I believe around 2 again. So I'll be doing some more afternoon drafts on the weekend tomorrow. Probably take Sunday off and be back at it on Monday. So still waiting on 3 people. And let's see. Don't see any major news happening. I was just checking Twitter. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear in the coming week, in like next week or so, about Kelsey and Aaron Rodgers. I think that those guys and Keenan, like the 3 retirements that we're monitoring now that we got them, like Evans news. So should be interesting. A lot of the same people in this draft. Captain Cook. I got the 4th spot, Mr. Foss in the 5th, Low Simone in the 6th. We have Legion in the 10th, Sweetleaf in the 11th. So appreciate everyone for joining. And yeah, I had the 3rd last time, so try and mix up my build maybe a little bit this time. So I will be interested, next week is the combine. I didn't highlight it, but both the big board and the little board are kind of trending they're over a 1/3 filled. Expect that number to pick up. I do wonder with the War Room game filled, if they release another contest, maybe next week. There's always a lot of buzz around the combine. And I plan on doing a lot of shows next week, particularly even on the weekend. So probably expect me to do shows every day next week. And before the combine gets started, maybe I'll do a baseball show. I've been meaning to do that. All right. I think I'm going to take Chase again. I was kind of hoping for maybe Puka, but tough to argue. Jamar Chase, just absolute monster, year in, year out. As when he's healthy, when Burrow's healthy, to me, it's like, it's tough for any receiver to beat that. And why I have Chase above Puka is a lot went wrong for Chase last year. The Burrow injury, him getting suspended, etc. Everything went right for Puka, outside of him missing the 1 game. But Adams missing the time down the stretch. And the bigger thing is Matt Stafford just having a career insane season. And I still think Puka's a great receiver, but head to head, I'm going to take Chase just about every time, because if things are even or things favor Chase, yeah, Chase just has to me, the highest ceiling. Life is checking in. I totally get why, but 20 max and new advancement structure on the little board is a bummer. Yeah. I mean, it's only $3. I get that. That's their argument with it. But I don't know why they went from the 3 of 12. Little board 2 was like 4 of 12. And then because it was so underfilled, it ended up being like a 6 of 12. But the little board 1 last year was a 3 of 12. So I would have loved to have seen them just run that back. Whether they wanted to make it bigger or smaller, and it was also a 50 max. Again, I would have just run that back the exact same way. Not sure why they felt the need to change it. I know they were able to change the prize pool a little bit. This essentially like what the Schnauzer was last year when it launched, when BBM launched after the draft. 20 max, $3 contest, 100K up top. But yeah, I would have favored them keeping it, just because the 20 rounds help, but there's just so much uncertainty that we're drafting against right now. And not just like, oh, this player could get injured in camp, which is a factor, but we just don't know where these guys are going to be. So I like the 312. I get the War Room, they didn't have that, but I would have liked it for the little board as well. And, we'll see. Maybe they'll release something else, like a $5 price point that is more aligned with like the big board. Don't know if I'm taking Neighbors. Don't know if I'm taking Bowers. Oh boy, I'll actually take Bowers. This can be like a 2 tight end build. I don't want 0 Bowers. It's not my favorite click. I think there's too much of an opportunity cost. As I was just saying, Loveland at 40, to me, is just way better than Bowers at 21. But I don't want to have 0. So let's see. Hulk saying, in a drafters draft right now, and it's odd how some of the injured players go higher there versus UD. It should be the other way around. It's got to be Kittle, Tyreek. Yeah, I haven't done as much drafters in a bunch of slows right now, so at various points. But yeah, I've noticed that, and particularly, like Tyreek almost assuredly is going to miss time. Like, he just announced he needs an LCL surgery or something. Like, the idea that he's going to be ready week 1 seems pretty thin. Definitely not taking Rashee Rice. I'll take Bucky. No, I'll go Kenneth Walker. Much more bullish on Kenneth Walker. And Kittle as well. Like, I just don't see Kittle ready week 1. Like, Scatterboo probably is ready week 1. I would love to see a discount there. But the Kittle and Tyreek, I think, are the most shocking, because Kittle injured so late, being an older player on a team that has consistently been very cautious with injuries. I just don't know if they'll push him back. I mean, we saw this with Chris Godwin last year. Like, why push back a veteran player? And Tyreek, we don't know where he'll be, but I can almost assure you he's not going to be out there first month of the year. So those two definitely. But yeah, even guys like Scatterboo, even some other guys that we probably do expect back. And the other thing that's interesting is, like, Yo Show like injury tags on some of those guys. DraftKings would do the same thing. Like, sure, you can read a report. If you click on a player like Scatterboo, it says targeting starve OTAs. Obviously, that's a lot better than other situations. But you have to like find that report on Underdog, where it's much more present on Drafters. So people drafting should be more understanding that these guys are going to miss time. Folks saying, yeah, we'll set a little board to 12. I wish they had a bunch of smaller field, little boards with like 412. Yeah, I would have loved that. I think those would have had advanced. I understand you want the 100K prize, top prize, that will push people. But yeah, I don't know. And like, I don't know why they went 50 to 20 versus 20 max for this as well, because like post draft we see, was it the Pomeranians of 50 max, right? And that fills, and it doesn't have as high of a top prize, and it's a little smaller than this, but I don't know. I would have definitely preferred those kind of structures, and the bigger thing is like the three or four 12s to start. Rice is still falling in this one. I will take JMO. Yeah, that's what Meg's talked about. That Kittle did get some positive news. Apparently the tear was in a location with better blood flow, but Kittle does get hurt every year. So going into the season with serious injury. And my thing is, like, why rush him back? Like, what? Especially, here's the other thing. Like, 49ers are, they're starting in Australia or whatever, right? No way are they having Kittle week 1. And I know later in the year they, another international game. I think that's in Mexico. Obviously not near as far, but and we'll see what the actual schedule is. But why would you rush him back? Let's go Javonte. It's not certain Javonte is back with Dallas. If he is, I'm just going to like him better than Quinshon Judkins, especially Judkins coming off the injury. Judkins is an interesting one, like coming off the injury, there's a note here, undergoes successful surgery, but he got hurt, is very similar, dislocated right ankle, fractured fibula, very similar to the Scatterboo injury. And it was like a month and a half afterwards. 2 months afterwards. So, we'll get the reports. And I think it's most likely Judkins would be ready for the start of the season. But he doesn't seem, I don't know, it's so weird. Like, people seem to be quiet on that. I don't hear a lot of people talking about the injury concern with Judkins. Who's going to fall on the knife? I'm guessing you mean about the Rice pick. Yeah, where did Rice end up going in this? He went at 48. So up in 10. This is a much more balanced build for me. I actually elite tight end, which I rarely do, which will probably make this a clear 2 tight end team. Unless something crazy, like I feel exceedingly good about my other 3 rooms. Because right now I love Chase. JMO is a number 2 receiver. It's fine, but I want to make sure my 3rd and 4th are pretty strong. And top 2 running backs, Walker, Williams, It's fine. It's good, but it's definitely not great. And to me, that's just such a big opportunity cost, because how would I feel about my running back room if I had, Chase Brown, Jacobs, or Kyron with the other two, or receiver room with Pickens, Neighbors, Nico with the other two? Like, so much better. And it's like, yeah, I feel great about my tight end and tight end room, but it's just not likely to score as many points as those other players. May continues to fall. Burrow does not. That gets frustrating. I went Burrow for when I get Chase. I'm going to take DK Metcalf here. Dart goes. Caleb is, sometimes Caleb goes 60. Other times he's going like over here in the 7th round. He seems to have a very wide range. Definitely not taking a tight end. So I'll focus on these 3 positions. Ramondre last draft. I like the value here, but I'll go Ricky P to feel a little bit better about my receiver room. Also open up a stacking partner. Now I have like Goff and Purdy that I feel pretty good about. Mendoza can be a priority as like a QB2. Aaron Rodgers maybe as a QB3. I don't mind. Darnold and Kenneth Walker, and then tack on somebody late. All right, coming up in 11 picks. Let's go back to the board. Degen is about to make his next pick. He takes Lawrence. So I'm sitting 0-2-4-1, Mr. Fossa 1-3-3, Losima 1-3-2-1, Legion 1-2-4. Probably looking at a wide receiver running back here. Well, I just don't need Pitts or Laporta with Bowers. Diggs continues to fall. That one surprises me. Maybe people are worried about the legal situation. I'm not too worried about it as it currently stands. Obviously, a lot can change there. There feels like a drop off at receiver. So I'll take Diggs. Maybe should have taken Purdy, but hoping I get one. Now with 5 receivers here, I feel really good about that. Still could end up with 8, but now I can very much wait and hunt for value. This might be a 7 running back room as well, since I'm ideally taking a quarterback here. All right, I'm going to go pretty as my QB1. See, the US is up 2-0, so that's nice. Hopefully they can hang on. See, the Cowboys released Logan Wilson. That was expected after they trade for him. There's no dead money left on his contract, so they free up a little bit of cap space, but they need to do a lot more work, particularly fitting George Pickens on the franchise tag. See about a quarterback or running back here. Still a little ways to go. Like that Baker Godwin combo. If Evans moves on, I think Godwin is very mispriced right now. He came on a little bit at the end. I just think another year removed, they have a lot of money tied up into him. There's no way they can really trade him or cut him. That's why I have such an issue about McMillan's price. Is it's just tough for him to be more than the 3 there, and maybe even 4. Fortunately, Coleman and Johnson go, Monty goes, so running backs get thin here. Yeah, very thin. This definitely could be a 7 RB team. I'm going to take Khalil Shakir, another receiver I generally like at his price. I mean, this could end up being an 8 running back team. Like, I might go just 7 receivers. Feel pretty strong about the room. I think I'm targeting quarterback here. It's a little early for Mendoza for my taste, but I might just do it with Brock. Having Brock does feel nice. Yeah, I'll do Mendoza. Mike asking, so next Friday or Saturday, are we coming to the stream to draft MLB with you? LOL. Yes, this is the peer pressure that your mom warned you about. I'll probably, if I do a baseball stream, it'll probably be more midweek, just because with the combine going on, I'll probably focus on football during the weekend next week. So maybe like, I need to see, maybe like Tuesday or Wednesday, I do a baseball stream. And it could be one where I do, both baseball and football drafts, or maybe I do 2 different streams, like one focused on baseball, just so that people can, who want to do baseball can be there for that. So I might do some 2-a-days, like a baseball stream, do a couple of baseball drafts, and then also a football stream. So I need to figure it out. I might see about getting a guest or 2 on next week also, but that would probably be for football. Meg checking in, definitely more MLB and PGA baseball streams coming. Yeah, peer pressure works. Good life lesson, Meg. Getting real thin at running back, so I'm not a Trey Benson fan. So I don't want to take. We'll see. Hopefully one of these guys can get back to me. Take Jordan Mason. It's my 3rd running back. Don't feel great about it. I could maybe wait more for, I'm definitely only doing 2 tight ends. So if Goddard's there, that'd be a value, and definitely be okay at 2 tight end. Could grab a quarterback. So Goddard goes, Juwan Johnson goes, Cam Ward goes, Kamar, Malik Willis, Mark Andrews. Those would be my top 3 options. I don't know what to make on Trey Benson. This is not a good statement, by the way. Vows to continue his playing career. You don't want to be hearing that. Or a guy I'm drafting in the 13th round. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, especially a 3rd-year player. I think I just need running back upside. So I'll take Kamara. Obviously, he's the guy who should be saying vows to continue your playing career, right? Not Trey Benson. Hulk saying, yeah, I'm surprised Godwin hasn't risen, but Debo's been stuck in that range too. I think I agree. I like, didn't really, took Shakir, but that 100 to, about 140. Dubs and Shaheed go 140, but, there's so many guys like Higgins, as I mentioned before, Debo, Shakir, who I got, Godwin, just so many guys are they all going to hit? No, of course not. But there's a lot of paths to some serious surplus value there. Paul saying Flacco has the same note. Yeah, again, Flacco should have that note, not Trey Benson. I'm worried. I moved Trey Benson up. I think I am at 225 and move him up to 189, and I feel I'm too high on him. I just don't have a good feeling. And I didn't even read the whole thing. I'm going to bring it up on another screen and read it, because it's like, that is just not what I want to see for my guy. Hunter Henry's there. I feel like that's a good 1-2 tight end combo. Jalen Allen, I still need running back. So probably helped me there. Hello, Smo, taking Hunter Henry. I think Aaron Jones moves on, so I'm not double stacking that, but I actually like Sean Tucker here, kind of the most. I think he has the highest floor, just from his touchdown ability. Yeah, I'm just kind of desperate for running backs in this room. I mean, these are the drafts I don't feel strong with. Obviously, I have more of an anchor here with Kenneth Walker and Javonte over my last one. But it does get thin. Wait, did I read the wrong thing? I don't see the vow to return on Trey Benson. I see a will not return this season. Maybe I read the wrong thing earlier. Was that somebody else? Who was that? I want tight end that I feel decent about, Theo Johnson. I tried to bring it up in a different screen, so I might have been wrong about the vow return. Not seeing. That's weird. Let me know if somebody else sees that note somewhere. I just saw that I was clicking through, and it's a weird one. Oh, it was on Tyreek. Let me see. Yeah, that would make more sense for Tyreek to say that. Okay, yeah, vows to continue playing career. Okay, yeah, that does make more sense. Yeah, appreciate you. No, thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. I thought I clicked Benson, but I must have accidentally clicked Tyreek. So I saw that, I was like, geez. But this is how I feel about Benson. Like, I was pretty high on him pre-draft. Didn't love the landing spot. And then, he had opportunities as a rookie. Did nothing with it. Obviously, was banged up some as well. And last year, had an opportunity. Didn't really do anything with it, and then got banged up. And so, it's like, he's just never, even going back to college, he's never shown that he can be a full workload guy. And just with the new coaching staff and everything, I'm just gonna be out on it, because the Cardinals also have a lot of money. So even if they move on from James Conner, which only gives them more money, like, do I think they turn the keys over to Trey Benson? Probably not. So I'm going to stop at 2 tight end, 1 1/3 quarterback. Running backs then. I think I just take Trey Tucker. It's part of the stack. Yeah. But yeah, back to Tyreek. And this is why the people who think that he is just going to be ready, and going back to what Hulk was saying about the drafters thing, even if he's ready mid-year, I think he's just going to be a limited player this year. Maybe 2 years from now he can return and be a decent receiver, but I think he's just looking for who's going to pay me to rehab, essentially, which is fine. Like, he should do that. And, maybe, get a little usage down the stretch. But I can't imagine he's anywhere near ready for week 1, week 5, week 10 might be a stretch. So we're at 7 receivers. Let's look at quarterback, running back. I'll pull up Rodgers again. It's not a guarantee that he's back. I'd mentioned the one Steelers beat reporter, Mark Kabuli, says 99%. That I think that's extreme, but most Steelers beat reporters seem to, I think it's very likely. So I'd probably put that at like 75%, 70%, somewhere in that ballpark. Him being back. I have DK Metcalf, so it makes even some more sense. But I think Aaron Rodgers, he played well last year, like for what we're expecting, and honestly, what the character of the offense was like. It was very limited. You had one receiver weapon, and then it was all like these tight end screens, running back screens. It was just not an efficient way to consistently move the ball. He had a pretty good touchdown rate for most of the year. Dipped a little bit after the hand injury. So I just think, do I think he's going to be a top 5 quarterback? No. Top 10 quarterback? No. I don't even know if he's going to be top 15 quarterback, but top 20, sure. Top 25, absolutely. With Mike McCarthy. And it sounds like Steelers are going to add weapons, which is the biggest thing. I think adding a second or third receiver could go a long way. And also, I think the tight end situation, instead of it being split 3 ways, just have Freiermuth and Darnell Washington. I think that's a big upgrade there as well. John who had the worst yards per catch among that trio. And I think they should just utilize Freiermuth more for his down the field, ability. When he was utilized, he had some big games for them, like against the Ravens, like against the Bengals, like against the Colts. But just for whatever reason, they would not do it with any sort of consistency. So done at quarterback. Running back can always tack on a receiver, but tight end I'm done with as well. I think I'm going to probably do one more receiver. For a while there, talked about maybe stopping at 7, but I don't think I think I'll probably take 2 running backs, 1 receiver with these final 3 picks, and just kind of see what's left for me. Running back is definitely thinner than I generally like, but that's why I will go 7. So Daniel Wilson would have been my top choice there. I'll take Ray Davis there. I think he struggles to have a standalone role, at least as long as Taron Johnson is there. He is one of the best handcuff options. If anything happens to James Cook, we would be scrambling to have Ray Davis on the waiver wire. Yeah, this is what I see. Even if all the other top guys resign, though, keep in mind Breece Hall does have a connection with LaFleur. LaFleur was the offensive coordinator when they drafted him. Then Nathaniel Hackett. Breece Hall had his best year with Nathaniel Hackett as offense coordinator. So the Cardinals have a lot of connection to Breece Hall if Breece Hall is truly available. I'll take Caleb Johnson here. Kind of have the Steelers thing going. If they don't bring back Gainwell, Caleb Johnson could end up with a decent role. It's a 7th running back. If it's a big 0, I don't think it kills me. If Breece Hall doesn't get franchise tag, I would expect the Cardinals to be heavily involved in his market. Now, I think there are a number of teams that could be very involved in his market, but because the other ones like ETN could re-sign before free agency, I think Kenneth Walker is very likely to re-sign before free agency. Javonte maybe re-signs before free agency. If not, then Javonte could be in the mix. I think Rico could be in the mix. So yeah, I think there's paths forward. I also think I know Cardinals beat reporter said Connor's not coming back, but another one then clarified at that price. Connor might just say convert some of his money into maybe incentive based or some other way. So I don't know, like Cardinals at the same time, they have so many other needs. I don't know if outside of the Breece Hall, big tier jump, does it make sense to cut Connor and pay Rico Dowdle essentially the same kind of money? Yes, he's younger. Yes, he's theoretically healthier, but Connor obviously has a stronger history. So I just expect one way or another Cardinals to either be Connor focused or free agent / draft pick. Just I don't see a big path for Benson. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. And I don't know if, Benson's younger, but I just don't know if he fits that bill. Hulk saying he thinks Tyreek at 140 plus on UD is worth it if he can get a 20 plus score in the playoffs, but season long scoring of ADP 120 is wild. Yeah, I think the 140 is just like, that is a range of wide receiver where I don't like a lot. And theoretically, he's got the highest upside of the bunch. But at the same time, I mentioned him earlier. I'll take the Jalen Noel shot here. I like my wide receiver room. I don't need to. I can just take an upside play. Keenan Allen would be another one, but I take a lot of him. So let me take Jalen Noel. It's tough without even knowing any sort of prognosis, because I mentioned this the other day, like even best case scenario, he goes to the Chiefs. He goes to, whoever you think the best case scenario is. And they say he's essentially going to be ready week 1. Like, we're taking him 90 to 100. Like, he's not going to jump into like round 6. Like, he just shouldn't, in my opinion. And those scenarios are so unlikely, right? Like, we wouldn't know that until July, August, about like his true health prognosis. And 2, like, even if he goes, I've mentioned the Rams, like I could see him going to the Rams, not playing early in the year, and then just being like a deep threat decoy. And sure, he'll get like 2 targets a game. This is what Sean Jackson did a couple years ago, and just open things up underneath. 100% could see that. And that's one of the better landing spots. My point is, even if he goes to a great team, I don't think he's going to have a bigger role. Can he still have a spike week or here or 2? Sure. I'm just not going to overly pay for it at this time. But I do get, like, in a playoff format, he's better than season long, for sure. Ray Davis did show he's capable in that last week of the season. I just bought too much of him. Yeah, me too. No, I think Ray Davis is capable. It's just, like, he's the third back, and he only is going to get usage when Cook gets banged up. Not sure week 18 versus Jets proves too Jane Blue went off week 18. I'm certainly not waiting. That's by too much. Davis, yeah, I think the difference is we've seen enough flashes from Davis, not just there. Like there was a game early in the year, Atlanta, James Cook, 10 straight plays. Ray Davis comes in, catches a 20-yard touchdown. Had like an 8-yard run. He had 2 plays and looked fine on both of them. Unfortunately, he only played like 4 more plays the rest of the game. He just doesn't have a role as long as Johnson's back, which they could cut Johnson. They do need to save some money there. And maybe they just end up now trusting Ray Davis enough. But even as a pure handcuffed 20th round or 19th, 20th round Ray Davis, I think it's fine. All right, that was our second draft. I'm going to review the teams and then I will hit up chat and then get out of here. I went 3-7-8-2. Brock, Mendoza, Aaron Rodgers. Running back room of Walker, Javonte Williams, Jordan Mason, Alvin Kamara, Sean Tucker, Ray Davis, Caleb Johnson. So, thin to start, or thin in the middle there. Like, got 2 running backs I feel confident with the starters, but then, I'm going to need some help from Mason, Kamara, Tucker especially. One of those guys need to be pretty usable probably for this team. Receiver room, pretty strong. Chase, Jameson Williams, DK Metcalf, Ricky P., Steph Diggs, who keeps falling, and then Shakir, Trey Tucker, Jalen Noel. Didn't even have to go 8. I probably could have been fine at 7. But, fine tacking on Noel there, Tucker there, part of the stack. Brock Bowers, Theo Johnson, only need to go 2 tight ends with paying the Brock price. I think to me, even in 20 rounds, that's kind of the only way I'm going to be doing it. If I'm getting Brock or McBride, I'm going to have a tough time taking them in 3 tight end builds currently. Maybe that changes, and if I do enough of them, I just probably won't get enough, probably only be about 3 to 5% on both those guys. So those builds will mainly be 2 tight end teams for me. And we had Mr. Mufasa go 3-6-8-3, May, Darnold, Penix, Henry, Hall, Ramondre Stevenson, Rico Dowdle. So, especially if Rico lands a nice landing spot, that's a good 4-man running back room. Sampson and Elijah or Emmanuel Wilson as backup running backs. JSN is kind of like the anchor. Then Mbuka, Tate, Moore. So still 3 more in the top 100. Shaheed, who, if he signs anywhere decent, his ADP should go up. Keyshawn Boutte, he's been sliding. Probably makes sense right now, but could still end up being a top 3 receiver for the Patriots. Kyle Williams, if not Boutte, and a pretty good reason why would be Kyle Williams emerges. And then Darnell Mooney tacked on at the end, likely gets cut, but if not, you have them stacked up. Penix, Kincaid, Barner, and Njoku, very solid, fun tight end room there. Losimo's next at 3-5-9-3. Jaden Stroud Willis. Willis should be a starter, so 3 starters. JT, Bucky, Harvey, so 3 running backs in the early window. Tecton Gainwell, who got a nice fall on, and Keaton Mitchell. So, able to stop at 5. Harvey's a tougher one to see, what his role is going to be going forward. I think it depends on what kind of running back they bring in to pair him with. Depends on his upside. Still an explosive player. Still a guy worth getting some shares on. I just wish he fell a little bit more. London, Flowers, Michael Pittman, Jane Reed, Denzel Boston. So even though technically only 3 in the top 100, Reed and Boston right after that. Tank Dell, Zachariah Branch, Cooper Kupp, Jacoby Lane. So kind of balance, like a veteran there with, some uncertainty, but still pretty good, room overall. Tyler Warren, Hunter Henry, Dalton Schultz, this is the type of room where if you're wrong on one of these rookies or Tank Dell isn't healthy, you're still going to be fine. And I think that tight end room is very strong. And then we, I think, just had Legion that I know was in here. Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, very possible starting quarterback team, James Cook, then Quinshon Judkins, Tyler Algier, James Conner. We just talked about Rashard White. Free agent, could have fun landings about Quinn Allen, whether it's ETN moves on or Allen outsnapped Tootin last year. So, I think he maintained some sort of role in the team. Chris Olave, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Rome Odunze, Jacoby Myers. So 5 receivers early, very strong core, and waited and got some fun upside plays in Surratt, Horton, and Bernard. Big fan of that wide receiver room, even in a situation like I have a tough time with Garrett Wilson just being with the Jets, but you got guys before him, you got guys after him for certainty, and then upside plays. If everything goes wrong for Garrett Wilson again, which would be unfortunate because he's a very talented player, you're still going to be covered. So I like that. So Strange, Andrews, and Likely is a good late tight end room. Strange and Andrews are 2 guys I have no idea why they go as late as they do, given the potential offenses they're on. Strange is part of your stack as well. So that wraps up, I believe, everyone who's in here. Let me hit up chat and we will get out of here. As a Cowboys fan, I like to see him sign and trade Pickens for a draft pick or defense player and then sign Alec Pierce. So it's definitely a possibility. It's just a lot of moving pieces. So when you franchise a player, technically their compensation in return is 2 first-round picks, but you can negotiate that down. It rarely has happened, but it has happened before. So they could absolutely get a first for him, but it may be like a first and a fourth or something like that for George Pickens. And then you have to sign Alec Pierce. After that, the problem with that is, Pierce is going to cost 80-85% of what Pickens is going to make. And the other part of that is, is Pierce going to get out of Indy? So you run that risk of Pierce not leaving, or Pierce having just a more robust market, and the Cowboys, not in the greatest cap situation. Can they offer him the same sort of contract that other teams would do? So is it possible? Yes. Do I see it as likely? I'd say no. And I think it'd be very unlikely if they're trading Pickens for another defense player who has his own cap hit, because you're going to have to offer Pierce some good money. It'll be less than Pickens, and yes, you can structure those to lower the initial cap hit, but that's for either Pickens or Pierce. If you trade for somebody, their cap hit's probably more set. Could be harder to restructure depending on the situation, would be how I would characterize that. But yeah, ideally that's your get a first and Alec Pierce, like that makes sense and costs a little less than Pickens. I see that from an overall value standpoint. It's just that'd be hard to maneuver. And I think from the biggest reason is I don't know if the Colts let Alec Pierce leave, would be my guess. So, but I appreciate you for joining chat. And that was a fun stream, but going about 2.5 hours. So I'm going to jump out now. I will be back tomorrow around 2. Keep an eye out for that. And of course, Paul, always. And Mike asks, who do you think the Dodgers pick up and defer money to 2050? Because maybe, that boy, baseball, this could be the last year of that kind of stuff. There could be a lockout next year or strike, whichever way it goes. Hope not, but that does sound like both sides are gearing up to a labor battle, unfortunately. Anyways, thank you everyone for joining. Appreciate all your support. Feel free to leave a comment after the stream. That always helps us out. And we will catch you next time. Have a great rest of the day. And I will be back, I think, tomorrow at 2. So catch me then, and looking forward to it.